Hello everyone, welcome to another Modest Musings. My name is Fear Dragon, and today's topic is going to be on hold for a moment because I want to talk a bit about the YouTube channel. I promise this will be short if you're just interested in listening to the topic, but for those who are wondering, or if you're really aware, you'll notice that I haven't exactly been uploading any more casts this past week to my YouTube channel. This has been for a couple of reasons. One is that I just got back from Korea, so I actually have not had whole lot of time to go ahead and edit, for example, more downtime content and stuff. So that's the reason why there's no downtime content. But the reason why there's no actual casts and stuff being uploaded, I do have extra videos I could potentially upload, but I'm actually trying something out. I've gotten some feedback from people that they actually just would prefer if I didn't have cast upload to the YouTube channel. If I just had downtime content and modest musings, because those are the two things that they're interested in, and everything else just floods their subscription inbox. So I'm actually going to try a bit of an experiment. I'm going to only do modest musings and downtime content on the YouTube channel and see how things go. But anyways, let's talk a bit about our topic for today. So today's topic is something related to, I guess, the way that casters color things. So what I mean by that is, with almost any interaction between two players, let's take Scarlet and Neeb. If one of those players, let's say the Zerg player, loses 7 drones, there's going to be two different ways that as a commentator you can explain that. You can either say, oh, Scarlet lost 7 drones. Or you could say Neeb killed 7 drones. Now this seems like it's the exact same thing, but there's subtle implications on either end of that. You're coloring the story just a little bit differently. If on one hand you have Scarlet saying, if Scarlet lost 7 drones, Scarlet is the actor in that sentence. She is the focus of that sentence. It's a bad thing. Oh man, Scarlet lost 7 drones. When you say Neeb killed 7 drones, Neeb is the actor in that sentence. It's a great thing. Neeb, he killed 7 drones. He did so much damage. This is great for Neeb. The other thing about that, when I say what I mean by what I say actor, is that there's also this implication of who's at fault, in a good way and a bad way. If you say Scarlet is the one who's the actor in the sentence, then there's this not exactly a super direct implication, because I think most people realize and understand StarCraft is not such a binary game that it only really revolves around one person's actions usually. It's a very dynamic game, but there's still this subtle implication that there's a little bit more fault on Scarlet miscontrolling or making a mistake and losing 7 workers versus Neeb killing 7 workers. It's almost like his fault a little bit more that he was able to play so well as to kill 7 workers. So there's 2 different ways you can phrase things. They both have different implications. One of them has a bit more of a positive impact. Excuse me. And the other one is a bit of a criticism, in a sense, toward a player. And as a commentator, your job is to pick in the heat of the moment for every one of these interactions which phrasing you're going to choose. Now, a lot of the time, most of the time, this becomes an unconscious decision. There are just far too many times you would have to make this sort of choice about every single decision, and it's hard to really consider the full long-term effects on how you're telling the narrative for every one of the situations. In fact, a lot of commentators will and I think some people sort of notice this sometimes, maybe directly or indirectly, that oftentimes commentators will commentate from their racist perspective. In that situation, if I'm a Protoss player, and I am, then maybe more often than not, I would say Neeb killed 7 workers, because I think about the game from the Protoss perspective. That's the context in which I view the game from. So sometimes there can definitely be a little bit of that bias of the commentator coming into effect, or if you're rooting for a player, sometimes you'll put things in their perspective more often than their opponents. But it is important to also consider that when you can, you should consider the general narrative. And yeah, there is going to be some caster bias for sure coming into this. If you're trying to build a narrative for one player more than the other, that's of course going to lead to some caster bias. But I don't think that's always necessarily a bad thing. That's a whole other topic. Caster bias is a whole other topic that I just do not have time for to talk about in this particular Modest Musings. But it was always really cool to consider that when you're going to talk about a player. And a lot of the time, I think the route that some commentators will take is that they'll tend to just stick with only the positive aspect of it, because criticizing players, it oftentimes leads to just backlash. People get really touchy about things. Oddly enough, I would say actually the same is true for the other end of the spectrum, where if you're constantly only complimenting players, people also criticize you as never, calling players out or not having good game knowledge and stuff. All kinds of fun stuff. So it's always a fun and interesting decision from that perspective. But overall, I think that it's really just about how the game is going. You have to make a judgment call based on the context of the game. Sometimes you want to just continue hyping up a player. Neema's been playing so perfectly the entire rest of the game. Maybe he killed it originally 4 or 5 different workers earlier on. He had an immaculate defense. He hasn't lost a single unit. Then cool, you want to say Neeb killed 7 workers. You're continuing to build that narrative about how perfectly Neeb is playing. On the other hand, if Neeb is, for example, making a lot of mistakes, Scarlet's making a lot of mistakes and not really playing on point. Maybe she got supply blocked a little bit. These small little independent things you can kind of tie back in by saying something like, Scarlet lost 7 workers. This is a huge amount of damage. I don't know if she'll be able to recover. It kind of continues to subtly build on that narrative that maybe Scarlet isn't playing her 100% today. Sorry to pick on you so much today, Scarlet. So anyways, just some food for thought. I think it's one of the subtler things about commentary. And of course, this is not just about, killing workers. This is about taking a good engagement. Someone gets EMP'd versus someone gets the EMPs off. Same thing with storms. All kinds of fun stuff. It pretty much applies to almost any interaction that happens between 2 players where one player takes an advantage and the other player takes a disadvantage. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to leave the rest for fun discussion amongst everyone else in the YouTube comments, Reddit, if it ends up getting posted there, and wherever else you might see this from. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see, things coming up. I'm trying to schedule Ladder Heroes. I don't know if it's actually going to happen this weekend, but maybe. I know it's definitely kind of a little bit close on that in that regard, in terms of scheduling and timing and stuff. I still have to reach out to players, but it's been a pretty busy few weeks. I'm really looking forward to, I guess, announcing some of the stuff that I've been working on, or part of the reason why I've been also so busy the past week or two. But yeah, look forward to that, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, guys.